welcome back to another Silhouette Studio tutorial. The card today is made on behalf of the Pumpkin Protection League. No, there probably isn't any such thing. Then again, there might be. However, I simply made that up because I was thinking of this little fox protecting his pumpkin from the inclement autumn weather. I'm using a graphic pack from my favourite place, as usual, the Hungry JPEG. Now, I will either have had this as a free download, because they offer quite a lot of free downloads, or it's been part of a bundle that I've paid for. So it isn't a sponsored post, and I haven't had any free product in return for making this video. I simply like their graphics, find them very versatile and reasonably priced. I'm going to leave this example over here so that I can sort of follow it. I doubt I'll be able to make it exactly the same, but that's not a big problem. Let's open the line style panel and my fill colour panel and start with, of course, the usual thing of a card base, and I'm going to go for my standard size of 4.13 by 5.845 and press enter, and I'm going to fill that with white. Okay. Now let's open some items that we're going to need. I've already been into this bundle once so that I could find it easily. And here's the fox. You can see we've got lots of characters in this graphic pack, but this is the one that I want to start with. And I'm going to copy him and bring him over to my card and resize him. Just by the usual method of dragging the handle from the side top. And I've made him a bit too small now, haven't I? So let's make him a little bit bigger. And put him over to the side. There. Okay. And now we're going to get some of the other elements, the pumpkin, the cloud, and these leaves. And it's still in the sweet life of foxes, and it's in elements that we want. Here's the pumpkin, so I'll open that. I'll go straight back and find the cloud, and it was this one that I used. And then we'll go back and find the leaves, and here they are all together. Let's start with the leaves as we're actually in this document. You can see that it's one image and they're all together, and if you remember from my card, I've got all the leaves separated and spread out on the bottom. So how did I manage to get this image to do that? Let's open our trace window, select trace area, select around them, and if you've watched any of my other videos about Quentin and his spells where we've done quite a bit of tracing, you know that we mess around with our threshold levels until it covers everything that we want. I always go to outline just to check that it looks alright, and of course I could zoom in if I want a closer look. But as I'm not actually cutting these because they're going to be too small, I'm really just doing it so that I can separate them. I'm not really too bothered about it being too accurate because it's also going on a white background. So again, it's not desperately important to me to be too accurate. And I'm going to use trace and detach. If I click that, And if I just use this mouse over shape to zoom in, you can see we haven't got any red lines, so they've got no cut lines, which is good because I don't want them to be cutting. And you'll now see that they're all separate and I can move them individually. However, I don't want to move them individually for the moment because I want to get them into my card. So I'm going to draw around them and use the group selected shapes so that they're back to being one image, and then I can copy and paste them over here. I'm going to leave them still as one big group and resize them together. And I might just rotate so that I can put them down here and see, have I got them at about the sort of size, so that I don't have to mess around resizing each one individually. I can always make some bigger when it comes to putting them down below here, but I think that will, yeah, I quite like that. I think they'll do. And now I'm just going to move them into this grey area here, and I'm also going to duplicate them because I'm going to need more than one lot. I want plenty of leaves to choose from. So I'm just going to put a couple of copies down there like so. Now I'm not going to put the leaves in position yet. I'm going to go back and do the cloud next. And for that I want to take a copy of my card base with me and go to the cloud page and paste in my card base. I'm going to go to Object, Mirror, flip vertically because I want the wavy edge of the cloud at the bottom. I'm going to increase the transparency so that I can see it over the white and use the Bring to Front command so that it's over my card base. And then I'm going to twiddle it around until I like the position. I think that might sort of do. I think I like that. And what I'm going to do is actually let me line up my base with a grid line and line that up with that grid line there. You'll see why in a minute. Move this out of the way. Bring up my transparency again. And now I'm going to trace this. And again, I'm going to bring up my threshold, check the outline. Again, I'm not actually going to cut this out. I'm simply going to be printing a flat card, so I don't need to be too accurate. And trace outer edge. Now I'm going to just move that out of the way, bring back my card base and line it up with the edge. I can remember that it was about there, so that will do nicely. And then I'm going to select both of those, open my modify panel and click crop. And now you can see I've got the shape of the cloud that fits the width of my card base. And now I need to use that to crop my cloud image. So again, I'll bring it forward, put my transparency up, and just line it up as near as possible. Again, I'm not worried about being too accurate as long as it's about what I had before. Then I'm going to draw around both of the shape that I drew and the cloud and click crop. And now I've got my exact cloud shape to fit the width of my card base. So I can copy that and come over here. Let's close the modify window so that we can see. Paste my cloud, and then if I put that here, I can use the align tool so I can go to the top and I can go to the left. And there we go, I've got my cloud and it fits exactly my card base. And now that that's in place, I can decide if my little fox wants to move a bit further down, and I think I might put him about there. Okay, so now we need the pumpkin. And where was the pumpkin? Did I open that first? I did. Here we go. So let's copy and bring our pumpkin over here and resize him. And think what sort of size I want. I think that will do. And let's move it back a little. And then I want to use the send backward command so that, or no, actually it'd be quicker to bring the fox forward. So bring forward, bring forward, bring forward. Now that does mean that I can't actually get at my pumpkin without interfering with my fox. So if you find that you want to move your pumpkin, you would send your fox backwards and then move your pumpkin if you thought it wasn't in the place that you wanted it. I'm going to just give it a little tweak to the side actually, and now I can send it backward because I know it's only one image behind the fox. There we go. I think that's good. And before I do the leaves, because they are the most complicated bit, I can get rid of the trace window now. I'm going to put my text in, and of course you can use any fonts and colours that you like. So for now I'm going to stick with what I used and start with protect, and I think I don't want it to be cutting, so I'm going to turn off the line style in this transparent option with the grid there, and I want a colour that sort of matches what we've got already here. So I'm going to pick up with the dropper tool this really dark, or starting to get dark grey there, and I'm going to use Open Sans and type protect your and click out and then resize it. Now I remembered from what I did before that it was about 11 or so for the size, so I'll leave it at that for the moment. And now I'm going to use text again, and this time I used one called Zuki Squash, and again I'm going to use the eyedropper tool or the paint dropper tool, whatever you want to call it, to pick up an orange from the pumpkin. That's what I did. So I just go around till I pick an orange that I like. Again, I don't want it to cut, but I do think I want an outline of dark around it, so like this black or something. So again, I'm going to get the dropper and I'm going up onto this umbrella and I'm going to pick up the dark colour, and I'm going to increase the thickness of the line to 7.75. And again, I'm going to type pumpkin and then resize it by putting it on the card until I like the look of it, because that's how I work. If I like the look of it, that will do. So I think that's about right for size. Maybe just let's pull it out a little. And then let's get protect, and I'm going to remove that by using the arrows on my keyboard so that I can line it up. And I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. Like I say, I'm sure I remember it being about 11. So I'm going to do that and just move it again with the arrows. And then I'm thinking, is that going to be dark enough? Yes, I think so. I like that. So now I've got the main elements done. Let's add a little bit of rain. It's pretend rain. I want a line style thickness of 1 for this. And I chose this bottom dot dot dash and lines dashed, well, I don't know how you describe it, but it's the bottom one. And I don't need text now, so I can get rid of that. And then go to my draw a line tool and just draw a line for the rain. And you can just draw your lines like that. Or the other thing that I did was I duplicated one that I'd already drawn, moved it, and then used the selection, well, the little boxes to make it smaller or bigger as necessary. So again, I duplicated it, brought it over here, made it a little bit bigger, duplicated it, moved it down here. I'm going to move this one down a little bit, move this one across a little bit, and I want another little one, duplicate, over here. So again, we've got some rain. Now we're ready to do the leaves, and this is going to be a matter of preference. You can put as many leaves or as few leaves as you like. So let me show you how I started it, at least, even if I don't finish them all. Oops, looks like my mouse went a little bit mad there, so I'll go back and zoom in. Sorry about that. Let's select our group here and ungroup them, and we can then start pulling them across. I'm going to start with the biggest ones first, and because I brought these leaves in as one of the first things that I did, they're going to go behind my fox because he's at the top. If you think of everything a bit like a sandwich, we've got the bread, which is the white base, at the back, and the fox at the top. That's the top slice, and everything else is sort of fitting in between. So you can see this leaf is going behind his boots there. So I'm going to put it about there. And once I let go of it like that, I can't get back at it without moving the fox, because his image is, of course, in front of that leaf. So if I want to do any rotating of leaves and things, I ought to do them before I bring them across, like so. So for instance, I might put that one behind there like that. And let's get the green one and put that there. And it's actually going behind the orange one, which is great. That's nice, I like that. I want this red one next, I think. I like the red. And that's going behind the green, and again that's good because it's stood on it. And let's have this strange looking yellow one, and I'll just rotate it a little, and I'm going to put that there underneath that foot. And I rather fancy this green one here between his foot and the penguin. And I quite like that little arrangement. I think they look good. So now let's pick a few others, and because the leaves don't fall with all their stalks lining up in a uniform manner, let's turn that one this way and put it, let's see, do I want it behind, or let's put it there. And let's bring this red one and turn it round and have it pointing down, and I'll drop that one there, and I'll pinch this little green one and rotate it, and we'll have this little orange one and rotate that. Now there is also something I'm not doing and ought to be trying. You can also mirror something. So if I go to Object and flip horizontally, I can change it so that it's pointing a different direction. So there's lots you can do. If you start running out of leaves, we can go and pick up from the other bunch. In fact, I might do that. I don't know if you can see, I'm not going to zoom in because it won't show you, but you'll see very faint grey outlines from the leaves that you've moved. And that's just from where we did the trace and detach. So once you're done with the leaves from this group and you don't want them anymore, you can just select it and delete it. I'll show you that. I'll just put that one there. So let's say I don't want those anymore. I can just select them and cut. I've still kept 3 of those. Now let me ungroup my other set of leaves, because I think we'll need a few more green ones, don't you? So let's have another green, and let's have this green, and let's have this big yellow one, and let's move that green one to the front. I think I want it above. Okay. After saying that I wouldn't make you sit and watch me do it, I can't leave them. I can't leave it half finished. I've got to actually put all the leaves in. Sorry. It's terrible, really, isn't it? I like these red ones. Let's put another red one there. And let's pinch another orange. Give it a quick rotate. And drop that one in there. And send it backward. I'll have to click a few times until it disappears behind that red leaf. So you just keep clicking centre back until it does what you want. Let's have this little green one. Give it a quick rotate and stick that in there. And let's have this little bit of yellow, and that can go over here. And I think that will do. You don't need to see me do the rest, and I don't want to keep those, so I can delete them. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little card for the pumpkin season. Until I see you next time, take care.